Hello, welcome to episode 21 of On the Game with the Wild Boar. It's me, Sam, and I'm with Ben.
Hi, what's up with your voice?
I'm really excited. I'm so excited. We haven't done one of these for ages now, and absolutely nothing has happened in between. No, loads of stuff has happened. What am I talking
Have
about?
you been drinking?
Not yet. I
Okay,
don't drink. Uh, uh,
teetotal.
I'm Alcoholic Anonymous, and so I
You
don't
are
tell.
alcoholic anonymous.
Yeah, so I go into bars and order a drink and don't tell anyone who I am, and then it's like it never happened.
I am the anonymous alcoholic.
Exactly. I go to a club and they all talk about like how they've stopped drinking. I don't really understand it. So
Why would you do that?
yeah, why would you do that? Like, and they keep they begin by telling us their names. So already that's hi, I'm Bill, and it's like hi, Bill.
I
It's
thought this
like
was anonymous. Also, have you
anonymous.
tasted this? It's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have a beer and shut up.
Chill out, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Have a drink on me. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about stuff that we've been playing and all this as normal. But the big event that happened that both me and Ben went to was Eurogamer. Um, so yeah, we kind of went separately and we met up in between and had a kiss and a cuddle and then went our ways. But so we had the different adventures, as it were. So Ben, why don't you run me through what you got up to?
What I got up to? Well, paid for the early entrance ticket, no worries, and then spent the about an hour and 20 minutes, which was 20 minutes over the early access area, queuing for Battlefront. So that's fine, no worries. Complete waste of time, because then the beta comes out like a week later, so no worries, completely fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that was really good. Enjoyed that. Did you play that?
I did. Well, when I was there, I did the oh fucking hell, the one where they come in waves. That's what she said.
Okay.
Um, but so I didn't go on the main what's it one. There was like kind of like a little offshoot thing.
Yeah, that's the one we did, or the one we queued for, I think. So it was a
Yeah,
co-op thing, and I really enjoyed that. That was good. Good laugh.
yeah,
Didn't really know what I was doing, but it was good.
yeah. I mean, I might talk about that a bit later. But I've been playing it at home
On the
um,
beta.
on the beta, and yeah. Should I just talk about it now? Should we
Yeah,
just get into
why not?
this?
Hey, let's do that.
Let's do it. So the one thing I was worried about, there's two things I was worried about really with Battlefront. One being, is that novelty value of it being Star Wars going to wear off very quickly? And I would say maybe the answer is yes. The second thing is it just Battlefront but Star Wars? And they have said that they're adamant that it's not Battlefront but with Star Wars. And having played it quite a while now, I still just kind of think it's Battlefront with Star Wars. It is different and it's good if you like that kind of thing. But once I was like, well, I'm in Star Wars and I'm doing all this Star Wars shit and everything, and I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm Darth Vader. Once that kind of had happened a couple of times, I was like, oh, it's just another battlefield. So yeah, and I've got a feeling now. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's not really going to be a story in this, right? It's just all going to be online stuff.
It's I think there is yeah, there's not really going to be a story. I think there are different modes you can go through in the single player thing, and a little bit more like Titanfall, but probably with even less plot. So you can go through and fight AI bots and have some kind of single player element to it. So you don't have to be online, I don't think. um so I think that's the limit of what it's like, but it is, yeah, it's multiplayer focused.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit worried in the terms of I think it's great and it looks nice and it sounds great and it's good for like that initial I'm in Star Wars playing Star Wars thing, but the longevity I'm not too sure about. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. I enjoy it. I remember playing the original kind of Star Wars Battlefronts back on whatever the hell system that was, but I think there's definitely a lot of hype over it, and I think also there's probably an element that's brought about, or that's because the probably isn't borne out in the sales figures, but I would imagine that most kind of hardcore gamers that are online looking at games and actually kind of creating hype and buzz and all that shit are probably starting to kind of, you know, emerge from the spell of Call of Duty and Battlefield. Like, who cares, really? Who cares about that? I know I don't. I mean, I've been renting those for years rather than actually buying them because they're just completely disposable experiences. And that's probably what this will be. You know, it is enjoyable playing, really enjoyable. I think the probably the most how do you say, most important element from making it feel like, you know, interesting and pulling on people's nostalgia strings is the sound. I think, you know, audibly it's fantastic. It's making the right noises. It's, you know, it's using obviously samples from the original 3 films, not the new shit. No, it's really cool. It's really enjoyable. But ultimately, how much time have I got in my life for, you know, competitive multiplayer time and time again? Probably not that much. It's good, but there's a, you know, I can't take that much of it. I don't find it that interesting. So yeah, I'll play it almost certainly. It's good fun, but I'm not gonna cheese on it.
No. Well, what else? What really amazed you about Eurogamer? What was the one thing?
I tell you what amazed me was having to drive to Birmingham. That was great.
Why did that amaze you?
Because it takes like 3 hours when there are plenty of like applicable or suitable venues in London, a mere half an hour's, you know, journey away.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the arena, but I mean, man, yeah, I had to get the train up there and back to fucking Essex, and it's like getting home almost took me 4 hours. Well, it did take me 4 hours because it finished at 6. I didn't get until like 10, half 10.
Oh God. But that was amazing in its way. But yeah, I suppose the show organization they have taken some feedback in recent years. So I mean, they're not really doing anything to curb the. I suppose we'll come on to that in a minute, but they're not doing anything to curb wait times. You know, certain demos are allowed to present, you know, sort of give you an hour's queuing, then present you with a 15-minute video where someone shouts at you for like an orientation kind of thing. And I kind of get that, so that you don't go into the demo like blind and, you know, not knowing what you're doing. But then the demo is again like 20 minutes long. So why not just shorten the length of the demo, and that will directly shorten the queue, just, you know, make it simple. I mean, that kind of thing would get the queues going faster, and you'd have more of a, you know, more of a fun time during the day rather than just standing around queuing. I mean, what did I play? Just Cause 3. I really like that. Again, I was kind of a bit worried about, and this was borne out really, that you know, it's probably the kind of game where you actually need to learn how to do the grappling hook and the, you know, pulling things together and firing your rocket and, you know, your wingsuit and all of that kind of stuff. There's no way, no matter how many people are shouting at you with the kind of orientation video, you're not going to be able to learn that stuff inside 15-20 minutes. You're just not. It takes you some time to kind of get used to those mechanics, and then eventually you become an absolute kind of badass and you can't be defeated kind of thing. That's the ultimate goal, but he's never going to get there in 15 minutes, especially when the only game mode that was available to us when we played it was this kind of like 2.5 minute time challenge, which meant that half the time you was sort of sitting in menus trying to work out what the hell was going on and starting another one. But in terms of just purely the game, yeah, really enjoyed it. It's kind of just chaos, kind of you know, plot light, and you can just go and have fun with it. Really, I quite enjoyed it. I like the first one. The second one was just way too big, and kind of they lost their minds in terms of you had to travel so long between different places and to create chaos. But this one looks like they've worked that out, and you can, you know, if you're competent at the game systems, you can keep yourself airborne and, you know, flying and moving at kind of high speed between the different areas. So hopefully that's, you know, what is in the demos and the online trailers and all that. Hopefully that's borne out when you actually learn the game systems. But yeah, that's, having played it's still good fun, so I'm going to get that. What else did you play?
I mean, I did Just Cause.
Just Cause.
I did do Just Cause 2 as well, yeah. And it was, I was there, remember, in the one after you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I just couldn't, yeah, you're right, basically. Like the game mechanics, I just couldn't get my head around that quickly. So I was like zipping around and flying around and blowing stuff up, but there'd be times where I'm like just trying to get over a ledge, and I'm like, I'm getting really fucked off. Like, why can I not just get over this stupid ledge
you
when I'm like
grapple
flying around a second
into
ago?
something you can't get over or something, and you become stuck, and the only way to get out of it is just to drop, and then you don't know how to. These are all things that will become second nature to you, like really quickly, but just not inside the space of a game demo.
Yeah, but it was all right. It was good. I mean, I haven't done any of the other Just Causes, and I don't think they're. I don't know. I don't think they're particularly for me, but I don't want to like, just brush it off. But yeah, I'm not too bothered about it.
I mean,
yeah,
personally, I think Just Cause is a great, it's a great kind of idea, and hopefully they've got it right with this entry. I think that personally, if you're looking for that kind of game, it's a very similar game to Crackdown, but I would say Crackdown is probably infinitely more accessible because there's far less kind of mechanics in it. It's just running, jumping, shooting, kicking, punching kind of thing, rather than like grapple hooks and all this kind of stuff. Now, conversely, they've both got kind of open world games where everything's destructible, but you're kind of given a bit more kind of variety in how you can destroy things in Just Cause. So now you've got these grapple hooks that can pull other items into each other. So I mean, during the demo, one thing I did work out was how to kind of contract a grapple hook. So I had a helicopter attached to a gas tank, and then you'd like press the button and they'd slowly kind of like inch their way towards each other, and explosion. And that's really the idea. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, but again, I'm just like, ugh. Is that like, am I just going to get bored of that in 10 minutes? And the answer is probably yes. But I don't know. It was all right. But
that's cool.
It was good. One cool thing which happened was I was queuing up to play just Guitar Hero, just to see what it was like. And some girl came up and was like, "Oh, hey, it's you." I'm like, hello. And at first I thought I do kind of recognize her, but I don't know where from. And my mate,
is she a big Brian Blessed fan, or
Brian Blessed?
Sorry, listeners.
And apparently I'm looking like Brian Blessed at the moment. In that I have a beard and a massive face and mouth. A huge face. And so I'm with my friend Matt, who I work with, and he like fucking knows like everyone. And I thought, oh, maybe like she knows him, but I was like, oh, this is really weird. Anyway, they took us out the queue and gave us a VIP Guitar Hero thing, and I think that's just something they do. So they were like, gave us like free drinks, and we're like, yeah, just here you go, just play it. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it.
I think it's, personally, my own opinion is I played it and enjoyed it, during the heyday, but I couldn't give a threepenny bit about playing that kind of game again. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I haven't played it in ages, and I was like, Guitar Hero's Guitar Hero, right? Like, whatever. But they've got the thing now, you've got those 2 rows of 3 buttons, and they're like, oh yeah, it's more like a guitar thing. And bear in mind, I am a guitarist, I play guitar, and I'm like, basically my fingers are too, I'm not exactly like, I'm a big guy, but I've not got like huge fingers, but I still found it really like finicky. I'm like, this isn't like doing chords and shit, which is what this is supposed to be. I'm just like, I'm pressing like the wrong kind of buttons. I'm like, this doesn't feel good. Like last time where it's just like, you've got 5 things coming down, press, and you've got it kind of in a row, so And with this, where it's like there's the one underneath, the one on top, and all this, I'm just like, this isn't good. This doesn't feel natural. And also, like every time you do your star power, you've got the button to activate it is like at the bridge bit of the guitar. So it's not like I kind of have to look down and see it and press it. And obviously, I want to use it at the top of a combo to get more points. So I'm breaking my combo by looking down and trying to, and I'm just like, this just doesn't feel great. And also, like, when people send, because they've got the video in the background and like they cheer or they boo, according to it. Like I was not looking at that basically the whole time. Like I had a vague idea that there was like stuff in the background, and I tried to make an effort to actually watch it a little bit. because I know about how much effort went on behind it. But I mean, what a waste of money! I'm going to be honest. If they really went to town on doing that, I was just like, this is pointless. Like, I'm not even looking at it. It's just some weird slow fade where people are looking at you going, basically, they might as well be slapping their chin with their tongue in their mouth. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a great game. What what else did you play?
It wasn't. What else did I play, Ben? It's a good question.
Well, okay, let me go through the list.
Well, we saw Deus Ex, didn't we?
So just saw Deus Ex. What did you think of that?
I liked it. I mean, I've still got to do the old Deus Ex, but I like its look. I like this one, felt a little bit more up my street than the last one. I mean, we had that conversation when we came out about how it's a series. Like, if you do it really stealthily, it's just walking through vents the whole time. But
I'm pretty certain that's what this one's going to be as well. I mean, if you want to stay in the air vents, they were making jokes about it, like as in you can, but that's part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, but I think
there are more stealth options. You're right. They've given it a bit more thought about taking people down non-lethally kind of thing.
Yeah, and the same way with like Metal Gear 5 is, you go stealthy, but if it breaks out into loud action, I always felt with Deus Ex that it kind of penalized you a little bit for it, maybe. Whereas, and he brings that up when he was presenting it to us, whereas things like Metal Gear and this new game, it's just part of the flow of the game. It's not like you can still get like an S ranking, for instance, in Metal Gear, but I'll come on to that. Yeah, that was good. What else did
that was cool? I
really
liked the look of that. So I mean, I was already kind of a fan, but watching that kind of it was a gameplay demo, but it was a video being previously captured kind of thing. But at least because last year we saw a video of Arkham City or whatever it is, and there was a guy. He was so hype, it was unreal. He was literally shouting at us using this microphone that had been turned up unbelievably, unbearably loud, and I had turned around to try and get out, and they weren't letting anybody out. It was like we were in there. There was no way out, and it was just unbearable for like 10-15 minutes. This guy was quite calm. He was actually quite a good PR guy, I think. So that was enjoyable. Did you see Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
I didn't. No. Well, as in, I saw the stands and all this stuff and people playing it, but I was just like, I think I know what I'm going to get. But
yeah, that was what I saw. I stood watching it for like 5-10 minutes. It didn't look very much different, to be honest. But I suppose the proof's in the pudding, and we should probably wait until we've actually played it to to judge. But yeah, I mean, after the last absolute litany of shit Assassin's Creed games, then you'd have to be mad to be too optimistic, I suppose. But who knows? Anyway, The Division. Did you see that?
No. What was that like?
So yeah, I think that looks really impressive. There's a guy kind of giving us so we're in a 3-person kind of, for want of a better term, fire team kind of thing. And this guy was kind of giving us on mic, on headset kind of instruction. But he was like behind us kind of looking at what we're doing. It's quite interesting. So what I had been a bit confused about is that obviously it's an MMO. So there are computer characters that are running around. You can loot things, you can take down computer game or NPC characters and loot them and all this. It's then your balance to decide whether you carry on going into unknown territory or whether you withdraw with the loot that you found. So it's your kind of cost versus reward, risk versus reward type thing, your decision. When you signal for evacuation, it signals to other people that you're going to leave. So other humans might turn up and try and jack you before you leave, right? So I was worried that would always happen, but there's an interesting mechanic that's in play, which is along the lines of if you take down, they're trying to emphasize cooperation rather than kind of antisocial behavior. But if you take down other human players, then there'll be a bounty on your head, and people will be able to see you through walls. They'll be able to see your where you are tracking wise, and there will be literally a bounty worth of money and loot on your head, so other people are kind of incentivized to take them down or you down, depending on who's done what kind of thing. So there's obviously a kind of risk reward type decision to be had there, whether you attack a team, you can visually see whether they've got loot on them from a distance as well. They've got like little yellow bags that have loot on them that are tied to their back. So it's all quite interesting. I'm still kind of really enthusiastic about that game, but it's not out until another 6 months. So yeah,
Okay,
that's cool.
interesting.
So that's that. Did you see Cuphead?
No, but you were telling me about it. But yeah, go ahead.
Looks unreal. What did you think of the trailer? I mean, obviously there's only one machine playing it, which was a wild understatement and a huge queue, which was rather crazy. They had 12 indie games on show in the Xbox area, and only one of them had a queue. The others were borderline empty, and Cuphead was the one, obviously.
I really love how it looks. Great style.
It looks stunning, doesn't it? I love it. Phil Spencer was recently on an IGN podcast, and he's sort of talking about how Microsoft have kind of funded them to make the game bigger, basically, and to make the game longer, to make it the way they want it to, rather than what they were initially putting out. So, I mean, I suppose that could go two ways, but at least it's positive that they've recognised that it's got an absolute load of positive press and positive vibes from its initial previews and all this. So that's cool. I played Homefront. Did you manage to do that? Oh, sorry, Homefront Revolution.
I didn't know. What was that like?
That's cool. I didn't play the first one. Heard good things. It's kind of strangely open world, so you can run around, get a bike, try and evade all the Korean overseers, attack them. It's quite cool in the fact that when you attack one of them, you then have to run and hide. You can't stand there like Call of Duty or whatever you want and take on all comers. You have to, you are going to get overwhelmed, guaranteed. So you have to, pick your battles and all this. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. The mechanics were quite solid. I was quite impressed. There was a cool little kind of hacking mini game thing. It was quite good. Definitely one to watch. I think it's made by a British studio as well. They went through a load of trouble.
I really liked the first one.
Yeah, good. to see it actually in the flesh and actually fun to play is encouraging. So that's cool. I can't remember when that's out. I think it's out this year.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember. And then finally we had a demo on PlayStation VR.
Yes, we were able to get, using my contacts, we're able to get a VIP PlayStation VR session for like half an hour or so. And yeah, so I did this thing. It's like called the Getaway, I think, and very much like the old PlayStation Getaway, Cockney geezers. And what it is that you are sitting next to a guy that's driving, and you're basically shooting out the windows at other cars and bikes and stuff like that. And the cool thing is you get a gun and you manually reload. But the problem is it took me a while to actually understand what I was doing. And so there was a point where I accidentally dropped the gun, and I spent half of it pushing the move controller into my dick, basically, because obviously it had fallen through me because I'm just a non-entity in the game. But yeah, so that was quite funny. That was good. That was very actiony.
And we have video of that, so we'll put that up on the site.
Yeah,
it's most entertaining.
And that was good. It was good quality. The headset was really comfy. The only thing is that I was really hot. Like, I imagine it must be having like that kind of having those screens that close to your face and the power, and you must obviously emit a lot of heat. But I was like,
so much of your face, isn't it? You've got headphones on at the same time.
Yeah,
and plus it's boiling in there to begin with. In that arena, you're in a small room inside of that arena. It's stifling, basically. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that so much. I mean, it's quite clearly nowhere near like the resolution of Oculus Rift, but then it's not being powered by a mega PC, which is obvious. But yeah, I thought that Getaway game was pretty fun when I played it. Far more responsive than I thought it'd be. Relatively easy. I mean, they had some nice touches for a demo, like you lean forward and like touch the radio and mess around with the hazard lights and all that kind of stuff. You couldn't throw your drink or touch your kind of driver's face, which we all tried to do. Like pick up this drink with a straw and just chuck it at his face. But for some reason they nerfed that. That was really annoying. That was good. And then you played some kind of horrible shit, which, oh Jesus, I would not want to be in that seat
Okay, well let me run you through this. So it was
I don't want to hear
it was called Kitchen, and basically it was a Capcom thing, I think. So if you have seen or if you watched on the YouTube channel Wild Boar TV, any of the Evil Within, it's similar to that kind of style. And what it is you're sitting tied up on a chair in the kitchen. There's a body in front of you, and in this kitchen is fucked up. I mean, it's like it's dirty, it's horrible. It's like a proper like Japanese horror film kind of look. Anyway, this guy wakes up and he's like, "Oh my god, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out." And just then, this like ring lady, you know, like all like long hair and really fucked up and freaky and skinny and stuff, stabs him. And then stabs you in the leg, and it's like right up in your face. Now, bear in mind, this is like 3D shit, so it's literally right there. And I'm trying to like look away. It's fucking horrible. And she's like putting the knife in your face and all this stuff. And then her and the other bloke have a fight, and she basically chops his head off. And then she starts like she's all around you, and she's like she's behind you, like putting her hands across your eyes, and then she like hangs her head down in front of you and all this shit. And it ends. So it's only like. It's less than 5 minutes long. It's quite short, but it's fucking horrible. And it's like, you know, I think it's a good way of where horror might go. Like I know, like Oculus linked up to Alien Isolation, for instance, and yeah, it was quite exciting. In a very different way from the Getaway thing, but yeah, I mean, PlayStation VR generally. I mean, I'm a big fan of VR anyway, but I really did. It was impressive. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's going to be some kind of investment because I mean, in the first game we played, you had to have 2 Move controllers, which are like 70 quid a piece or whatever it is, plus presumably the PlayStation Eye camera or whatever it is. So yeah, then plus you add that into your PSVR headset kind of thing, you're looking at a lot of money. So it's not going to be a big thing in terms of like sales, is it? Because well, you would assume because of the kind of cost to entry. But that said, it was cool. I mean, still think we're years away from actually that being a mainstream thing with games as well. I think even if it comes out, it's going to be like tech demos and proof of concept kind of stuff. And if you look at Kinect as a kind of barometer of how that kind of thing, you know, kind of heavy cost peripheral goes, then you know, how's the take up going to be, and what was the kind of adoption by by game studios? Really, it was very minimal. I mean, with VR, I think you've got a lot better chance of that being taken up, but how's the ecosystem going to work? How's translations from, you know, PC and Steam games going to go from Valve and Oculus Rift PC games into, you know, is it going to be easy to port them onto PSVR? Who knows? But it's certainly very encouraging, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good. So that was kind of one of the big things I was looking forward to, which I did. I basically went there to do that. So that was good.
I can't think of anything else. There's bound to have been several other things.
I played a really good game, and I haven't got it in front of me. Fucking annoying, but it was a bit like this is gonna be so annoying. I had the guy's business card, and I spoke to him for like 2 minutes. But it was it's in the indie section, and it's very very much like Res. If people remember Res, and a bit like Child of Light, but mainly Res, where you're flying through, but you're a ship, and you're locking on and doing it to the beat. But the way you travel is like, if anyone played DJ Hero, if you remember, like kind of flipping the switch to either side to keep in line with this line that was coming up, like Guitar Hero, and that's what DJ Hero was kind of like. But it was kind of like that with your controller, but you're also shooting stuff at the same time, and it was using proper like dubstep music. And it just sounded and played really well. It was really, really good. And afterwards, I was like, "Yeah, that's fucking cool." Like that mix, that way that Res mixed like game and music and everything. I mean, that was kind of a nice little hidden gem. But I'm sorry, I can't remember what the fuck it was called. So that's a bit pointless.
Let's remember for next time. One game I did see but not play on purpose was, well, there was a huge queue as well, but there's only so much time in the day. But yeah, so Mirror's Edge Catalyst, basically. So I took a good look without queuing. You could at least this is something that Eurogamer has changed. There was one year about 4 years ago where you would go to almost every game you wanted to see, and it'd be behind a stand and behind like an enclosure. And the only games that were like that this year were games where they were doing a video only kind of demo, like Deus Ex or Hitman, which is understandable really, because that's fine. They want to put context around the video. And the only actual game that I saw that was like that was Call of Duty. And I didn't see a queue for Call of Duty, which was normally that's the biggest queue in the place. I did not. I mean, it might have been around the side I didn't see, but I did not see a call for Call of Duty. Normally, there's absolutely loads of people.
No, same here. Like
on two sides of that enclosure, Star Wars Battlefront was. So I mean, who knows? But there was no one coming out of it. That's what made me think there was no queue. That was the thing. There's, you know, we were right by the exit. There's no one coming out. We were stood there for over an hour. So
well, no, towards the end, I was when I was queuing up for a bit of Battlefront. I was like, "Is this the Call of Duty thing?" And mate Matt was like, "Yeah, there is no one. They've got like a security guy there, and there's no one there."
So you can't see. I mean, I think generally they'd learned from that, which is great, because if you know, I'm quite happy. I mean, there are certain games you want to play, like to see if they've fixed like major issues, or to see, you know, what they're like if they're brand new or something like that. But something like a Call of Duty, you don't necessarily need to play it because you know how it's going to play. You just want to see it, right? You just want to see some features, and you don't really want to ruin it or
to taste it.
Want to have to wait for, you know, to queue and all this shit, right? But Call of Duty, oh wow! Like, I mean, if you can't just see the game, I think it's just a bad news, bad idea, really bad organization. And luckily, EGX, they learned that, and it's only Activision Call of Duty that did it, right? But you could see Mirror's Edge anyway. That, returning to the point, you could see Mirror's Edge. It looked absolutely mind-blowing. It looks so good, but I didn't want to ruin it for myself at all. I was obsessed with the first one, so yeah, really looking forward to that. That's good. I don't need to see any more of that. Yeah, loved it.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going around it in my head, like virtually, if you know what I mean. Trying to think, what the fuck was there? But
I mean, there was Halo 5 multiplayer there. I played a bit of that. It's really good. I mean, I think I was trying to describe to you the other day is it definitely feels different to previous Halo 5. Oh, sorry, previous Halo games multiplayer. It feels different from Destiny, which I always likened to. I mean, I'm probably so far ingrained in Destiny now that I wouldn't really recognize Halo going back to it, but it feels a lot stiffer. It's still really fast. It's definitely, they've definitely tightened up the mechanics in terms of the gunplay. It's very precise, but it does feel quite stiff, some of the movements sometimes. But they are full on going for like arena battles and competitive multiplayer and that kind of stuff. They're definitely going for the esports market as well, so it is quite interesting. I mean, the main reason I ever played Halo was co-op and single player, so I mean that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing, and I've managed to avoid a lot of the, you know, the coverage, so it's good. I'm going to stay away from it for a while.
Okay, I think that little girl that you've got trapped in your basement is trying to get out.
No, that's the door at the bottom of the flats. It's really annoying.
Oh, sure, that's what it is.
The door.
Shut up, you little bitch. Sorry. So yeah, okay. Well, let's move on for that. So that's Eurogamer. So what have you been? What should we start with? News. What's new?
What's new? Well, not much. It is pretty much the quiet period before all the releases start. So there's the news from ages ago, which I don't think we discussed, which was that Halo multiplayer maps are going to be free. All future DLC Halo multiplayer maps are going to be free to download. So that's pretty cool. So usually, well, every other Halo they've had online, they usually release at least 3 map packs going forward. So that's pretty cool. Usually to a high standard as well, and that's very different from a lot of other games, a lot of other multiplayer games that are going on at the moment. And it's not quite as greedy as the rest of the as a lot of practices we're seeing at the moment. So I think that probably is a move to try and get lots of people playing it, to get people, the whole fan base, to kind of stay with it for a long time. I think they definitely took a hit on Halo 4, which online was apparently not all that fun. Although, to be fair, Halo 4 was the worst Halo game, so it's not really that surprising. And then confirmation again that Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm sure this was confirmed a year ago or so, but again, there's another news story with it on, which is that there's no single player mode. So there's a terrorist hunt where you can play against, computer controlled AI opponents, kind of thing, but there's no kind of plot to it or anything like that.
Okay.
Which effectively means I will not be playing that game. The main reason I liked Rainbow Six was the story and the squad control and all that kind of stuff, and it was fantastic. But if it's just going to be a hardcore multiplayer thing a la Counter-Strike or something, then my interest is dwindling by the second. Anyway,
fair enough.
Cool. That's probably news. Shall we do the free games?
Yeah, why not?
Free games this month. So on PlayStation, what did we decide it was? Super Meat Boy at the moment.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the other one is, so that's useless. Sorry.
I did know. Shit. Broken Age.
Find it when you looked on the PS site earlier.
Broken Age.
Broken Age. Broken Age. I'm so glad I paid for that last month.
I told you.
Yeah,
I had fucking said it was definitely going to be a PS Plus.
Going away, I want a game to play, and then I ended up playing. I don't know what was it I was trying to do on Vita. Oh, Danganronpa. We can talk about that. And then on Xbox, we have Valiant Hearts and The Walking Dead, the complete first season. And then on Xbox 360, you have Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes and The Walking Dead, the complete first season. So that's pretty cool.
That's good for those who haven't got it. Do it.
So yeah, cool. So let's move into reviews.
Right, so I'll hit you up with one of mine. I finally did Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Nice.
So yeah, that was good. That was the one that was released episodically, and I know I've been saying I've been on chapter 1 for ages now, but I just smashed them all out, and I really liked it. I liked it a lot better than 6, and no, I liked 5 probably better, but it really does go back to that old school Resident Evil of like finding puzzles, dank, horrible environments, feeling very claustrophobic and closed in. It's not very open or anything like that at all, really. Like there's a bit where it kind of opens out a little bit, and there's like these little towns, but generally speaking, it's very, very contained. And the story's okay. I mean, I actually quite enjoyed the story. There's a dual narrative going on. Like you're doing to the two girls who have been trapped, put on this island with a special bracelet and whatever. And then on the second half of each episode, you're playing Barry and this little girl who are where it's taking place 6 months later. So things you do in the first half affect the second half. I mean, not very much in terms of gameplay and stuff, but like story wise, it's just quite cool. And I really liked it. It gets a bit stupid and like Capcom typical Resident Evil stuff, but compared to like the absolute out and out ridiculousn's of like 6, just having this on like it's an island, something's fucking weird, it's all these it just felt very much like just very stripped down, basic, simple. I think had this been like a full release in terms of like had it been Resident Evil 7 or something like that, people would have been like, what the fuck is this? Like there's like it feels like no money has been spent on it, but because it feels like a smaller game, it was released episodically, it's just found that right balance of being entertaining, not having a lot of pressure onto it, and just delivering a decent Resident Evil game that gives me faith that Capcom can still deliver something that's actually good. I did enjoy it. So I got the DLC as well, but I'm going to take a break and I might come back and do that at a later point. But yeah, for any Resident Evil fans, especially ones who enjoy like the first couple, I would highly recommend it. It was good. It's a decent, good enough game.
Cool.
Good enemies as well.
Price, what's the deal?
Yeah, it's. I'm guessing it'll be something that will probably come down in price, or maybe on PS Plus at a later date, because that'd be a good one to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Your turn.
Cool. Well, let's cover off. This won't take us very long because I know what we're going to say. But let's cover off the ongoing game and obsession that is Rocket League.
I know. It's. I literally just played it just before we had this podcast, actually, and I did for the first time.
A crack for you, isn't it?
I know it's ridiculous. It's because they're so short. It's just having that one simple burst. But for this,
that's what my girlfriend says about me.
Ding dong. But this is the first time I'd done it one-on-one.
Oh God, that sounds awful.
And it really
that's
was.
What she said.
That's what I was thinking as I said it. I was like, I'm usually with a mate.
Usually it's a few people.
All chasing the big ball. But one-on-one is very tough in the sense that if you make one mistake, you're fucked. And instead of going, because I'm very like aggressive in the way that I play, but I had to learn that like you should actually just if it's one-on-one, you should just take your time with it a little bit more, because if you go in full pelt, it's going to be tough for you to backtrack, whilst the other guy just very slowly meanders the ball into like the back of your net. But yeah, I mean, I really like it, and yeah, it's good fun. You know, when we've been playing it, we've had a good laugh.
Yeah, we've got our continuing adventures on the YouTube channel, kids. So check that out. And it's good fun. I can't believe it's a PS Plus game. That's great. Yeah, really good. I would be, if I got into it a little bit more, I'd probably be tempted to drop the whatever it is, £7 for the DLC. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's just extra cars and tracks and shit, isn't it? Or...
Yeah. It is good though. It is good fun. I'm not worried about taking it ranked and getting all serious on it, but I do want to actually learn a bit more about it. Maybe when I've got some time, I'll sit down and do the tutorial, and we'll learn out actually how you're supposed to hit the ball, other than running around like a fucking blue ass fly and just getting in people's way, which is my stone cold tactic. I know. Actually, my tactic is, and here it is, guys. Actually, no, I'm not saying that.
Why?
I want to beat me.
Yeah.
But no, just basically hang back. You know, wait for teammates to kind of put it in from the sides and scoop it round. And as soon as it breaks across the goal, then if you've kind of got this like a attacking midfield sensibility, you can kind of come in as the ball bounces across and people are trying to usher it to the other side and to safety. You can kind of like thump it in.
Yeah, that's what she said. It is good to hang back. I mean, like, it's big. Because when I first started playing and I kept getting fucking smashed by the other cars, like smashing into me, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop doing this. But I have totally lately become that person. Like, if I see like the ball going up in the air or something and it's near my goal, instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to hit it out, I'm just like, I'm going to fucking bash this guy right out the way so he doesn't fucking stand a chance. Because, yeah, you can see people doing the same thing, what you were just saying, just like hanging back, waiting for the drop to take that run up. And I'm like, I know exactly what you're going to fucking do. And instead of going for the ball, I'm just going to take you out right now. Yeah, so it's little things like that. It's really weird how, like, generally my game, my playing strategy has changed as I've been playing.
Anyway, yeah, get on there, guys, because it's a good game. I don't know how much it is normally. I can't imagine it's very much. Get on it and play it. It is good fun. Right, moving on. Let's leave the big one until last. So I finished Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc on the PlayStation Vita the other week. Now, before I tell you what I think, Sam, are you going to play it?
I might, but if I do, I think it's going to be way down the line. So
yeah, okay. So I'll keep it spoiler free. But either way, so it's a kind of crazy game. It's part. By the way, the review is up on the site, so check that out.
Thewildboar.com, BORE.com.
So it is part kind of detective, like, what do you call it? Like Ace Phoenix, whatever was his name.
What the
Phoenix
fuck are you
Wright, that
talking
was it.
about?
Phoenix
Oh,
Wright,
Ace Attorney or whatever.
Ace Attorney. It's kind of a little bit like that, like court case drama, detective work. It's kind of high school melodrama, like soap opera. So it's that kind of thing. It's absolutely mental. The whole plot is basically that you are supposedly a student that's been invited, or one of the top students in the country that's been invited to this ultra exclusive academy. It's not too much of a spoiler to say that things go wrong. You soon learn that you've been imprisoned in this school by this this bear, this stuffed teddy bear that can talk and run around and, you know, commit terrible violent acts.
Is his name Ben?
Called Monokuma. No, his name's not Ben. Anyway, it's just fantastic. Yeah, it's really good. It's surprisingly funny, which is, as I say, yeah, surprise. So I don't need to say that again. Yeah, just really enjoyable, and it is long though. That's one thing I'd probably say about it. It's probably like a 30-hour game, even if you're like rushing through it. Fairly linear, so you don't really need to worry about it. And I suppose there are also a few kind of like little annoying little mechanics. There's lots of like little mini games you have to do during the trial for different phases of the trial, and some of them aren't, you know, all that entertaining. But generally, I think it's absolutely great, and I'd recommend it. So yeah, that's
Okay.
cool.
Nice.
So that's that. So on to this week's big review. Everybody's gone to the Rapture. So, why don't you describe what type of game it is to the listeners?
Oh God. Okay, what type of game it is? So it's an immersive experience, let's say, in the sense of you are walking around this beautiful English village, and or is it Welsh, something like that? Whatever.
It's Welsh. It's Welsh. It's in the Midlands somewhere.
And as you're going around, it's completely deserted. Shropshire. Okay, it's completely deserted apart from these glowing gold balls, which you walk around and follow, and they lead you to different bits of the story. Before I expand upon this, what did you expect when you went into this game?
So what did I expect? Right. So I'm a big fan of what I would term, you know, either adventure games or point and click adventure games or whatever that kind of genre is. So in that, I suppose you could include Grim Fandango, Broken Age, the Sherlock Holmes games, that kind of thing, right? Does that make sense? So I thought it would be something along those lines. I thought it was definitely marketed as some kind of mystery game, and straight off the bat, when you're going up to these little orb things, these glowing, dashing orbs, these lights that are flying around, there is that element of mystery. Now, each of these things kind of decodes into kind of a memory, or a kind of, you know, a memory of, like, you know, a particular person or a group of people having a particular conversation about what's happening in the events in the town before everybody's gone to the Rapture. What I wasn't expecting was the almost complete lack of interactivity to it, and that's something that I'm not sure I really got over. You know,
What, are you still reeling? Waking up in cold sweats.
Now, in a lot of these other games, you require some kind of thought behind it, and in this, it's, I mean, and I think I was saying to you the other day, there's a mechanic in it whereby you have to look at the orb in a certain way, and then, you know, use the controller, the Y-axis controller, to, you know, tilt it to a certain angle, and then leave it there for an indeterminate amount of time, sometimes 5, sometimes 30 seconds, before it kind of goes supernova, and eventually you get the memory out of it, right? That's, as far as I can see, the only kind of gameplay in the game,
apart from walking.
Well, we'll come on to that in a bit. So there's radios to find, and having looked at the trophies that I didn't get, there's, you know, some other bits you can try, but
picking up phones and shit
to do with walking to certain areas, and like standing in certain areas for certain amounts of time, and all this kind of stuff. So not any kind of mechanics that I've actually missed. So there are phones to answer and radios to play and this kind of stuff, but by and large, it's 100%, regardless of the delivery mechanism of it, either phone, radio, CB radio, or tape deck. It's recorded, transcripts, like Bioshock style kind of story padding that tell you additional things to the light memories that are coming out. Now, yeah, I mean, what more to say about it? So that's the kind of gameplay. You basically walk along one road that goes through this entire kind of sprawling village, and you go and check out the houses and the churches and the shops and the petrol stations and the parks and the hills and the farms and all this. I mean, am I missing something? That's the game, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I mean, the main thing to say about it is that there is a mystery that's going on, that's kind of unfolding as to where everybody's gone and what's actually happened. And I think visually it's stunning. It's a beautiful kind of realization of this 1984 Shropshire village, and the touch of kind of making it realistic and very English is, I think that's been done very well. The one area I think that there's that's kind of colored my opinion of the game, other than the kind of lack of different gameplay elements, the main area I think has affected what I think of the game is the speed at which you walk. You're limited to a very, very slow walking speed. You can hold the right trigger down to go about 15 or 20% faster. But even then, that's slower than you would want to walk in your worst nightmare. So I just don't get it. Like, it feels basically like I mean, it took me, because I was doing a lot of backtracking, it probably took me like 5 or 6 hours to get through it. I think you did it in what, 3 or 4?
3 or 4. I mean, there was one bit where I don't know if you remember this. You have to go up, like, I think it's outside a church. It's not the church. There's one church bit, and then there's maybe it's not. It's an observatory. That's it.
That's at the end.
Yeah, it's near. Yeah. Oh, is it right at the end? Yeah. Okay, it's not that. It's a bit before, basically, where you have to go up the side bit. I mean, if you look at the YouTube, you could watch me want to throw my TV through the window, because I'm following the gold thing, and then I'm following it back down, and I'm following it back up, and I can see the thing hovering above me, and I'm trying to do it, but it's at that thing where I think it still needs me to unlock more stuff.
Yeah, I think the exact same. I'll check it out.
Just like, yeah, it just fucking.
It happened to me, the same thing. You get to the end of the road, at the end of the village, so the last bit, like if the road's blocked off, you've seen on all the maps, this is where the map ends, and then you go back and there's still one orb that is there that doesn't really tell you what you need to do. Now, normally if you go to the orb, it will, in every other part of the game, it will then move and show you where you need to go, right? This one just keeps on going back and forth to 3 or 4 locations, and it wasn't for, I don't know, absolute ages, like 10-15 minutes. Now maybe I'm doing something completely idiotic and wrong, but it wasn't for ages until it started moving in the right direction. And that direction was that there was suddenly like a really thin kind of like light streak in the sky that was following this power line, and you had to follow this power line down into this little bunker that you would never have seen in the month of Sundays.
Yeah, so I was able to do that, but I do remember thinking for ages, like, where the fuck is this bit? But I was lucky with that. But yeah, I know which bit you're talking about.
But I think, but it
wasn't obvious.
The amount of content in the game, I think, to say I did a lot of backtracking, a lot of exploring, right? So that's probably what took me like 6 whatever hours.
Why you did that, I don't know.
But I tried to explore like loads of different places. But that would have literally been halved if the walking speed had been a sensible walking speed that you would see in any other game or in real life if you actually went out walking. It's unbelievable, and I don't know how it's got through QA and testing, in that someone must have said, why are we walking this slowly? Oh, hold down the right trigger, you're going to run. Right, this is still a painfully slow walk of someone with crippling leg pain. Why is this so slow?
Yeah.
Oh, right, I tell you why it's so slow, because we need to pad the length of the game. That's the only conceivable reason, unless it's something like, oh, we want them to take in the scenery. But even so, like, natural curiosity of seeing such things, you're going to do that anyway. You're going to stop and see things regardless. Like, no one's going to charge through and do nothing, but you feel far more tempted to do so when the game's so slow. And if you realize you've forgotten something, it's suddenly like a 40-minute journey there and back just to walking really, really slowly. Oh,
don't, mate. Honestly, I mean, like, did you read my review on the site of this game?
I didn't. No, not yet.
I mean, I'll sum it up as we get on, but you tell me first.
Yeah, so I would say that even with the kind of limited gameplay mechanics, I probably would have recommended the game purely because it was quite interesting. I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, there's a little bit too much kind of soap opera drama about affairs and all this kind of stuff, rather than the actual. I thought there'd be a bit more of the mystery of actually what's happened, but that's still left wildly open, which is fine. So that took me a little bit of a surprise, but I'd probably still have recommended it, even so, if it wasn't for the walking speed, which I think is just a kind of an unforgivable sin. Really, it's an absolute chore walking around at that speed. And I've got better things to do, so I wouldn't play it again, and I wouldn't recommend it really. Basically, if they release the patch to walk twice the speed, then yeah, sure, that's fine.
The thing is, I don't mind, like, okay, even to a degree, it was very, very slow to navigate. I could kind of forgive that had it not been that there was a great story, and the story I thought was terrible. The voice acting I hated. I kept saying it was something from the Archers. It felt like voice acting, and because there was no sense of context, it didn't feel like it was in the room. It felt like it was in your head. I was just very aware that it was recorded in a studio. It wasn't fitting the scene, and also the fact that because you're just looking at golden people, basically there's a scene happening, and there's no like subtitles or indication of which character's what apart from what they're calling each other. So you're just watching one gold blob talk to another gold blob, and I've absolutely no idea who's who or who's coming in or whatever. And they do like refer to it, and there's obviously characters which do continue.
Come back.
Yeah. So, but not enough for me. Like, I literally finished going. I have all I know is that basically this was about some guy having an affair with this woman.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I almost always turn subtitles on the game, just in case, if the audio is not great or I'm not paying attention or whatever. You can usually catch with the gist of it by looking up at the screen. But I turned it on for this, and I agree. The first half of the game, you're like, who, what? Because it doesn't really matter if you've got the subtitles. You've learned the names. It's like there's a lot of like, kind of generic sounding, people's names from 80s England, right? But they're not really doing anything interesting in the plot. I mean, the first like few hours they're just bickering about people moving into the town, and oh, father doing this, he's such a gossip, and this person's having an affair with that person. It's just I don't watch EastEnders, but I would imagine that's what that's like, right? So it's that kind of thing, and it's not that thrilling, and it is tough to keep a track of. Eventually the cast list thins down towards the end, and you kind of get a gist of what's going on, and that's fine. But I just didn't, that kind of overall thing, it's very melancholy. I didn't find it all that interesting. I was there really what drew me into the game in the first place was trying to see what had actually happened in the town, and they don't really. I mean,
it's basically it's like Pulse. There's something in the fucking wires. And
well, no, it sounds like they've made contact via their radio telemetry system with
some alien shit,
with some kind of alien who's who's misunderstood life and is trying to basically destroy it, but not meaning to. And they're all kind of spoilers. They decide to bomb the entire town and gas everybody to stop it spreading, but that they kind of intimate that or imply that it's found a way to spread outside the valley regardless, and that everybody's now met the same fate, and that the memories that are left, the gold kind of orbs of energy that are left, are people's kind of essences that are there forever, basically.
So here's one thing I was thinking. Do you play the Alien?
That's a good question. Right, so about about halfway through, I started thinking, who the hell am I? Right, everyone's dead. I'm walking around. It suddenly becomes clear that they start saying in very definitive senses that the woman scientist is up in the tower, that the other guy, the guy Stephen or whatever it is, and by the way, maybe it's the way he's written or the way he's voiced, sounds like an absolute arsehole.
Fucking dick, yeah.
God, he basically someone all they need to do is just even slightly kind of tonally disagree with him, and he jumps down everybody's throat, and you're like, what?
Like, yeah, and like everyone fancies him or something. It's stupid.
But he's got 2 women. Okay,
and he's a dick to both of them.
Yeah, cheers. So he's at the other end of town, doing something else. So then at one point, they kind of led you to believe that you were him, and then at a different point, you were her, and then at the end, it kind of ended up that I thought it sounded like you were him, because you walked down into that tunnel and it was supposedly his bunker, and then you saw the seat where he was supposedly just sitting there, and then he crawled over and died. This is all spoilers, isn't it? This is terrible. We're terrible.
Honestly, it's a spoiler in the fact that I played the game and I still have no idea what was going on happening. So
crawls over and dies, right? And you start as her at the end again, but just as her, and she's going around doing the same thing, but in the observatory where you know that only she is. She's locked herself in there, right?
Yeah.
So you play. It looks like you're playing as her, but I didn't think it didn't occur to me. Yeah, you're playing as the alien, but it was weird. I don't know.
I hated it.
I think it's just a bit of a shame. I would have recommended it as a kind of novelty game to experience something pretty, but it is annoying. The walking speed is intolerable.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play something that's like that, actually better. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter,
Cool.
At least it was a game. You're still walking around, but you're still like solving puzzles and doing shit and whatever, and it still looked super nice.
Cool. So in summary, we're not recommending that.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And there you go. Cool.
Yeah, shame, but never mind.
What's next?
What is next? Good point. Next? What's on the list? I've gone past the list now. Tales from the Borderlands. I'll just quickly touch upon it because I did the first 4 episodes.
Cool.
And I really like it. It's tongue in cheek. It's got a really fast pace. I really like the fucking music in it as well. It's a bit stupid. I really like the characters, and yeah, I'm like each episode. I'm waiting for like the shit episode, and it's not really come. But the only bits which I'm a bit like are the typical Telltale bits where it's like suddenly you've got to walk around and look at stuff, and that slows it right down because I'm just like, oh, here I go. I'm just going to walk across things and press X. Great.
Well, that's point and click adventures.
I know. To a degree, yes, but there's no real puzzles like point and click has. There's no like take this over here and do that, or like this will impact what happens in another scene, which you do. In this, it's like you're just given one room, and it's like, okay, well, there's not really much I'm doing here apart from just picking things up, but it's okay, it's good, but the rest of the game's great, and I really like it. So I'm just going to say, if I know you were saying earlier that they might be releasing the first episode for free. If they do, great. I totally recommend picking it up. See if you like. The first episode is quite big as well, if you know what I mean. I think it's a good couple of hours. So if you play that and you like it, then you should do it. And also, if there's any Seinfeld fans, the voice of Puddy. Sorry, Cuddy's from House. Puddy is in it, and that's pretty good. And it's also what's his name, Troy Baker.
Let's make it out.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. I've also been playing Pokemon Shuffle on my phone, and I'm strangely addicted to it.
Oh God, is it a free-to-wait game?
It is a free-to-wait game, and it's like
real. What are you playing that shit for?
All I'm saying is that if anyone's out there and they're playing it, hit me up because I need someone to talk to about it. I won't talk about it now because it's just essentially a very shitty, addictive mobile game. But
we should not be talking about exploitative bullshit like that.
Well, still, and also I downloaded, but I haven't played it yet. I downloaded Soma, the Amnesia guys. It's just a bit like more of a horror Bioshock. So I'll let you know what that's like. And apart from that, all I've been doing is playing Metal Gear Solid 5 like a fucking chief.
Like a chief.
Yeah, but you can see all that on YouTube as I'm going through it. And man, I mean, like, let's talk about it once we've done it. But fuck me, is that a great game? Love it.
Yeah, I haven't started that yet, but I will be. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
So we were going to it another time, but I've been playing a lot of the Taken King, Destiny, obviously.
Yeah.
I did Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. I've been doing some Star Wars, Battlefront beta, Battlefield Hardline, a little bit of that. You're going to play that, aren't you? So let's talk about that another time.
Yeah, let's talk about it another time. I'll probably play it at some point. I imagine it will probably be a PS Plus game at some point because it's a bit shit, isn't it?
It's not all that. I mean, it's got some interesting ideas, but it's not. It's absolutely rental material. Or if you buy it, you're mad. Yeah, that's not for me. And then I've got things like Broken Age, King's Quest, and Phantom Pain, all sitting there, kind of waiting to play. So yeah, plenty to see and do at the moment.
Plenty to get on with.
Oh, and Grim Fandango, I'm doing that on the Vita.
Nice. Okay, well, that's it, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Do we want to do a game? Do we want to do a game?
No.
Well, it's now gone 10 p.m, so I think it's bedtime.
Is it bedtime? I think it's bedtime.
Well, listen, thanks for listening in. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Wild Boar UK. You can email us, thewildboartv@gmail.com. Remember, that's BORE. Obviously, go to the website, thewildboar.com, BORE.com. You can listen to our sister podcast, Soggy Popcorn, which is on the same podcast thingy bob. YouTube, thewildboartv.com. No, sorry, what am I talking about? YouTube.com/thewildboartv. And yeah, just to have a look, see what you think. Just send something in. Basically, if anyone sends anything in, it will get read out. I guarantee. I'm putting that out there now. You send something, you tweet to us, you text me if you know me. That sounds weird. You email us, whatever you want, and I guarantee on the next show I'll read it out. And if that's 100 of you, then I'll read out 100 things. It's a guarantee, right, Ben?
That's going to be a long podcast.
Yeah, but it won't be. Let's be honest. Okay, so thanks, guys, and yeah, see you later.
See ya.